Your doctors, so our brave audience volunteers are doing it for you. They're going to be embarrassed today for you to get the answers. All right, now it's time to talk about something that can be really gross, but it's definitely really important. It's two things that come from down there. Numero uno and numero dos. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Number one and number two. Who has a question about going to number one or number two? You have a question? What's your name?
D.
D, what's your question?
Well, usually in the morning, you know, I go in and do my number threes, you know, 1, 2, 3. You
What's
know?
a 3? What's a 3?
A fart.
Oh, a fart. A 3 is a fart. I thought 3 was diarrhea. Okay. You do 1, 2, 3.
You know, I usually turn around and check my progress. So, you know, I just wanted to know, what's the difference when it, you know, floats or sinks? Is it healthy, unhealthy?
Floats or sinks?
You know,
You mean like the turd?
Yeah, your turd, it usually floats, and sometimes it sinks. So
Now I'm trying to think about... Fine. Who floats and who sinks? You guys don't know? Well, we need to start paying attention. So what should it do?
Am I eating healthy when it floats? Or, you know, am I eating healthier if it sinks? You know, so forth.
It's a great question. Actually, for the most part, your stool should sink. Sometimes it can float depending on what you eat. If there is more gas produced in whatever you eat, that'll make it float.
Like soda? Like if you drink a soda?
Soda, beans, anything that's going to produce gas. But if you're consistently noting floating stools and they're very smelly, that could be a sign of a digestive problem.
Isn't it all smelly?
Well, there's smelly and then there's really smelly.
You're right. Because I feel like everybody can kind of take their own smell.
Right.
But every now and then you're like, I gotta light a damn match and I did this. Right?
Exactly.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so I've heard that we should look at it. And how often do you guys look? Do you guys look at it? Yeah? Oh, now we're getting honest. I like this. We're getting honest. Yeah, you look at it because you want to know what color it is. You know, is it like, you know, little pops? Does it look like goat turds?
Right.
You know, because the goat turds are like the little niblets, like the little, like, you know what I'm talking about? Or does it look like an elephant turd, like just a big pow? And it can be different. So what's this supposed to look like?
Yeah, first of all, it's great that you're looking because some people don't look. It is important to look. Now, I'm not saying you have to scrutinize it with a microscope, but take a glance at it. We actually have some great models here. It's not real, so no one can get grossed out.
What is that? What did you... What is that? It looks like granola dookie.
Yeah, I heard it's mostly edible, but I'm not going to try it right now. But yeah, so you're looking for a few things. Number one, you're looking for the shape. And you want it to be like a decent size and shape. This looks pretty normal to me. You don't want it to be too skinny or narrow. You see these like really skinny strips there. That could be a sign of something growing inside your colon that's causing the stool to be very narrow. So that's a little worrisome.
Constipation, you know, like when you're pushing real hard and it goes, why am I saying this? Okay.
Yeah, and then here we have these very small pebble-like stools.
The
They're
goat
tiny.
dookie.
Again, a sign of constipation. And then this is the very loose, mushy stool.
Number 3.
Could be a sign of infection, so you would want to get it checked out. You're also looking for color. These are actually all pretty fairly normal color, nice brown, but you want to watch out for red, a sign of blood. That could be something dangerous. If it's very light colored, you could have trouble with digestion or your gallbladder. And that's pretty much it. That's what you want to look for.
What if it's like dark?
Very dark could be, and I mean like black, could be a sign of internal bleeding from your stomach, and so that should be taken into account. But it can be black because of things like Pepto-Bismol, Mylanta, so if you're taking those medicines, you shouldn't worry too much.
Okay. What if, like, okay, I have a question, like a wiping question.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like when you wipe, you should look. And you should keep wiping until there's nothing left. I have to ask you, is there a such thing as wiping too much?
Yeah, actually we call people who do that the hyper wipers.
Hyper wipers.
And it is too much because you can really irritate your skin and you can actually cause some bleeding that way.
Oh, wow.
So you got to be careful of that. But yes, it is important to wipe everything away because if you leave some stool there, it can cause itchiness and irritation as well.
What about, look, I have so many booty questions. the wipies, like the wet stuff, like wet ones and stuff.
That's actually a good idea if you are one of these hyper wipers or if you tend to get constipated, because even a baby wipe, something moist, or you can just wet the toilet paper, it's much less abrasive to your skin.
I've been in the public restroom and I've seen women take paper towels and wet them and go into the bathroom. I'm like, you going to do number 2 and you're a hyper wiper. Yeah. The last thing I want to ask about number 2 is, what if you can see what you ate?
Yeah.
Like
so
if
they
you
call
ate
that
corn,
deja vu.
corn, rice.
Right.
What is
corn is one of those things that it's normal for us to not be able to digest properly. It's totally normal to see corn in there. If you're seeing a lot of other foods in there, though, you may not be digesting anything properly. You should get it checked out.
Okay. So we've talked about number 2 and number 3 and all that stuff. Number 1. We're going to ask about number 1. What should we look for when we pee-pee in the toilet? What do we see, Dr. Suzanne?
I have some lovely samples here too. I don't know how well you guys can see these, but over here these are kind of the more normal. So what you want to do
Can you
is
hold up the normal ones? Because I
Sure.
know the camera's trying to get them, but
you
we can't
want to
really
kind
see
of get
them.
an idea, and I'm going to talk a little bit about these. Sort of clearish yellowish. This is probably someone who really drinks a lot of water.
Yeah.
This is, you know, when it gets to that fluorescent color, this is your vitamins. Okay, so sometimes
Thank you,
your
because
vitamins-
sometimes it is like neon 80s up in the toilet.
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, and it's after vitamins.
Right, and some of that is normal metabolites, and some of that is, you know, guess what? You should eat your vitamins like in your food, because you don't absorb them very well. They go in your pee.
Oh, that's what it is.
Right. That's a whole other topic. But these are fairly normal looking, yellowish, clearish.
Okay.
This one is someone who's really not drinking enough fluid. And it can get quite dark and scant, you know?
Wow.
So real dark brownish. This also can be liver, gallbladder problems. So if you're consistently having
Darker
brownish, we also call it Coke, you know, Coke bottle colored.
Okay.
You should be seen by a physician.
Not good.
And it's smelly, right?
The last
It
one
will
is
have a very distinct smell. And then this one,
That looks like time of the month pee.
this one, you know, don't freak. I mean, first of all, this may be, oh, right, my period's coming. Okay,
Yeah.
that might be that. But it also may, did you have a lot of beets, rhubarb, blackberries can
Beets
turn
make your pee reddish?
they can. They can.
I knew it made number 2
Not
reddish.
for
I didn't know
everybody,
it made
but they
the pee.
can. So,
Wow.
you know, and again, it's a good idea to look and see, because it's a really good, this is a really ancient technique of checking health. This is how ancient physicians checked health. I mean, they used to taste it, too. Yeah.
What does it taste like?
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not an ancient physician.
Last question. On a desert island, safer to
Right,
drink your pee or salt water?
Pee. It's
Pee.
sterile. Pee.
Drink your pee.
And it's sterile.
Instead of, I heard that pee
And it
is
won't
sterile.
kill you like
Y'all know what I
Yeah,
mean by
the salt water will
that?
kill
Like,
you.
you might be in a public restroom, you see people's pee all over the toilet, you think, oh my God, disease. No, the disease is what you can't see. That pee is not going to give you a disease, right?
right,
We'll be
that's
right
right.
back.